Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. I took a little break for Christmas and the New Year's, so I haven't posted a video last week, and I was thinking about not posting a video this week because of New Year's, but I figured I might as well since this one isn't going to be too hard to go through. In this video, I'm going to be going over the Exotic Archive. So if you're a new player and you just load into the game, you'll notice that there's this exotic archive. So if you go into it, you'll see there's, exotics from like Red War, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen, and Lightfall. And then there's Legacy gear. I think this is mostly going to be weapons that are sunset. So sunset weapons can't go up in power anymore. They're stuck at this 1350, and you'll know if a weapon is sunset if it has like this gray border on the corner. So you don't really need anything from here, honestly. I would say, I'll go into it later in the video, but first, I'm going to go over the Red War exotics. So if you're new and you're starting and you're probably wondering, well, which exotics should I buy from this exotic kiosk first? So these are exotics from year one, and they they are expensive to get. As you can see, you need an exotic cipher, 100,000 glimmer, legendary shards, and an ascendant shard to buy one. But sometimes the materials needed to buy some of these are different. So if we go to, like this one, Legend of Acreus, it says you need 240 spoils of conquest instead of legendary shards. Spoils of conquest are currencies that you get from doing raid encounters, featured raid encounters, or the newest raid encounters that just recently came out. So if you're new, I wouldn't worry too much about spoils of conquest, but if you were just curious as to where to get them, that's where you would go get them. You'd do either the most recent raid that came out, and for each encounter completed, you get like 3 or 5 spoils, and the extra chests in the raids give about 3 spoils, I believe. But 240 is the max amount of spoils you can carry, so they are really expensive to buy, these raid exotics. So just a heads up. But as for Forsaken Red War, not Forsaken, Red War exotics, I would say one of the ones that you'd most definitely want to get, and I'm gonna rank these in order that I think that are probably gonna be good long term, like to buy first. So I think Outbreak Perfected would be probably the best one to get first, because it's a kinetic. Uses primary ammo, which is infinite ammo in this game. So, um, you know, let's see the perks on it. So this weapon does more damage to enemies based on a number of Siva nanites that attach to them. And this weapon creates Siva nanite swarms on rapid hits and precision kills. So you can just keep shooting an enemy over and over and over again, and it's going to create Siva nanites on them. And it'll spawn Siva nanites on that enemy that you're shooting, and just do continuous damage to them as long as you keep shooting them. So I think this is probably one of the best exotics that you can go for first. I would say Whisper, maybe, because new expansion is around the corner at the time of this video. So Who knows if they end up buffing snipers or Whisper of the Worm in general. Because it has its perks is Mulligan. Missing a shot has a chance to return ammo directly to the magazine, which is really good based off of the intrinsic trait that it has. So it has a higher base precision damage, so it does a lot of damage when you hit a crit. Rapidly landing 3 precision hits will refill the magazine. So as long as you hit all 3 crits with this weapon, you'll get another 3 bullets in your mag. So you can just continuously fire this weapon if you're hitting your crits all the time. I would rate this one a third. Probably not the most important out of the ones that I recommend to get, but I think after Outbreak, I would say Sleeper Simulant, because it's a linear fusion rifle. It just does huge amounts of damage as a linear fusion. Or yeah, it's supposed to be like this big, hard-hitting linear fusion weapon, but it has gotten nerfed, I believe, and over the years, and it's not as good as other linear fusion rifles. But I still think this is a pretty good exotic to grab, nonetheless. So the interesting thing about this weapon is that the laser that you shoot from this gun over penetrates enemies, and it hard ricochets off of like walls and floors, ceilings, everything. And when it ricochets off of something for the first hit, it creates a bunch of other different lasers going off in different directions, based on the trajectory and whatnot. And those can also do damage, but it can also kill you at times. So, but I think this is a pretty safe one to get if you don't have an exotic yet that you think is particularly doing well. This goes in the heavy slot, so it it's if you have a good linear fusion rifle already, you probably won't be using this gun as much, but and then I would go Whisper of the Worm for your last one in the Red War exotics. And then everything else is kind of just pick whenever you want. Honestly, I think I kind of like Polaris Lance. I don't use it a lot, but yeah. Yeah. So those 3: Outbreak, Sleeper, and then Whisper of the Worm, I would try to prioritize. So now we're gonna move on to the Forsaken exotics. So for Forsaken, let's see. Le Monarch is a really good bow, PvP and PvE. So as soon as you fully draw the bow back and hit a target with a crit, or if you hit a target with a crit, it creates this poisonous explosion that can spread to other nearby enemies. But if you don't hit the crit, it'll only poison that one enemy. So it's best to always try to aim for a headshot or the crit spot with this gun, if other enemies are nearby. I mean, you'd want to hit crits anyways because it does more damage, but yeah, this gun is pretty good, like GMs specifically, because it can stun overload champions. So I think Le Monarch is probably one that is a safe bet to go for first on here. I'm trying not to go over to raid exotics because there's 3 of them right here. So Anarchy, Taraba, and then the always on time Sparrow, which is the fastest sparrow in the game right now. They actually just talked about it recently, saying that it actually is bugged, and that's why it's faster. And they would have to completely remake the sparrow if they wanted to fix it to be the same speed as the other exotic sparrows. But Taraba, I like this gun, but it's never really been meta breaking or anything. Anarchy is really good this season, Season of the Seraph, because of weekend clear. Grenade launchers debuff enemies, so they'll take more damage. But yeah, so those are the raid exotics if you were wondering what about those. So the Monarch would probably be one of my go-tos, and Izanagi's would probably be a good one to go for as well. Holding R consumes all 4 bullets into 1 bullet, and it will have additional range and do a lot more damage. So this is usually pretty good for killing champions when they get stunned. Yeah, I think, and if you get the catalyst for this, it increases the damage bonus of uh, the honed edge perk right here, which you hold R to reload all 4 bullets into 1. So other than that, I wouldn't really say anything else too much. I think Bad Juju's pretty good. It gives you more super energy for each kill, and increases damage as well. Thorn is usually a good like PvP, PvE weapon. It's pretty fun to use. Not like crazy insane or anything, unless you pair it with some other. If you're playing Warlock with Necrotic Grip, it's pretty fun to use. Pretty good at clear. And then Ace of Spades is also pretty good, but I'm not sure if this is something that you really necessarily need. But yeah, those are the Forsaken exotics. So moving on to Shadowkeep. So the unfortunate thing about the exotics from here onward is that some of these exotics, to get their catalyst, is going to take a long time to get because they were in the season pass. So like Ariana's Vow, Symmetry, Tommy's Matchbook, and Witherhoard, I believe. I think Ruinous Effigy. I'm not sure, but for their respective seasons, there was a bonus in the season pass where you would get bonus progress towards completing the catalyst, but since the season's passed and gone, you actually, at least I know for Ariana's Vow, you have to complete 400 activities of either Crucible, Vanguard strikes, or Gambit matches. So if you were to get Ariana's Vow, you would have to, for the catalyst, you would have to complete 400 of those playlist matches, which is very, very daunting. It's gonna take a long time. But that being said, I think out of all of these that you would probably want first is Witherhoard. I like Witherhoard a lot. So Witherhoard, when you shoot this grenade launcher, it goes in the kinetic slot. Takes so if you shoot an enemy directly, it'll blight the target and it'll do damage over time. And if they die while hit with this, they will drop that blight on the ground and create a damaging pool in its area, which did get nerfed. It used to last like 7 seconds, but they nerfed it to now 3.5 seconds. So it's a big nerf, but I still think the weapon is still gonna be amazingly good. Um, yeah, so here it is. Projectiles fired by this weapon blight the target or nearby area on impact. So, especially with the weekend clear mod in the artifact this season, with the horde is really good right now. For the next weapon I would recommend would be Ariana's Vow. So Ariana's Vow is a really good weapon. It can do. It has shield piercing, so it's good against barrier champions, the ones that put up their shields if you ever ran into them. And bonus damage when aiming down sights on the opening shot of an attack. This bonus is preserved if the shot deals precision damage or strikes an elemental shield. So this weapon, when fully loaded, you haven't shot a bullet out of the mag yet, it will do more damage as long as you're hitting a precision or hitting an elemental shield. Once you miss that precision or shield hitting streak, the bonus damage will go away. But this is still a really good weapon against barrier champs. So 2 weapons I would prioritize from here would be Witherhoard and Ariana's Vow. As for other weapons that you can probably, for other weapons like that are not so important, that are pretty good, I would say like Symmetry's pretty fun to use. Devil's Ruin's pretty fun to use since it's a kinetic weapon, or a primary weapon, I mean. Uses primary ammo, so it has infinite ammo. You hold the shooting button and it just shoots like a laser beam of death. It's pretty fun to use. You can use it all the time since it has infinite ammo. But yeah, I think the 2 that you'd want to prioritize from here would be Witherhoard and Ariana's Vow. Now moving on to Beyond Light. So Beyond Light doesn't really have too many like crazy good weapons. Aegir's Scepter is really good for ad clear. This weapon just freezes everything around it. And Tiku's Divination is also pretty good as a bow for like GMs and stuff. Lost Sectors, running like Legend or Master Lost Sectors. I've used this a couple times. Honestly, I would probably go with Tiku's first, and then Aegir's Scepter from here. But the exotics from here aren't too crazy, so I wouldn't really, be in a rush to get anything from the Beyond Light exotic category. So yeah. And now we have the Witch Queen exotics. Once again, nothing too crazy. Trespasser was really fun. Cause I don't know, after you kill an enemy, you reload, and it gets unrepentant. So it just does like this huge burst of like arc damage, and as long as you keep killing enemies with unrepentant active, I think it auto reloads and you can just keep shooting it non-stop. Yeah, final blows with unrepentant super burst automatically reload your weapon and provide an unrepentant super burst. So you'll kill an enemy, reload, you get unrepentant, and then as long as you kill an enemy with that stronger burst, um, it'll get reloaded instantly, and you'll keep up the unrepentant buff active. So you can literally just keep killing enemies with unrepentant the whole time, as long, if you have enough enemies to shoot, that is. So this trespasser was pretty fun. Delicate Tomb is it's a good fusion rifle, but I don't really use it that much anymore. Been using Cold Heart as an arc build on my Warlock recently, so but Delicate Tomb is not a bad one either. But yeah, um, nothing too crazy from the Witch Queen exotics, so you don't really have to hurry for anything here. And then Lightfall exotics. This is a pre-order bonus, but if you were curious as to know what it is, it's Quicksilver Storm. So as long as you're shooting and hitting a target, a little micro missile will shoot from the gun and hit the target that you're currently shooting at. So, and then once you have enough stacks of rocket tracers, um, or grenade chaser, you hold R to switch to the gun to like a grenade launcher mode, and it turns into a grenade launcher for like two, or no, like three shots, I think, 3 or 4 shots. Um, this gun was bugged when it first came out, but I haven't really used it that much. I don't know. I think it's neat, but I don't think it's been really that crazy of a gun to equip. So this is a Lightfall pre-order weapon too, so I imagine most of you probably aren't gonna get this. But yeah. And then we're gonna go into the legacy gear. So these are legendary weapons that are mostly gonna be sunset. These are weapon ornaments, so skins for previous weapons that you could get. But I'm not gonna go over the sunset weapons because you can't level them up anymore. So there's no point in talking about them because you're not gonna be using them in PvE. Unless you're playing like the Vanguard Strikes, because Vanguard Strikes, it doesn't really matter what power level you are. So if you want to look at these, go ahead. But there's Felwitch's Lie, which is a good PvP shotgun, I believe. But, or no, it is. It is a good PvP shotgun. What am I saying? But I don't play PvP a lot, so I don't really use it. Adored is another, I would say, PvP weapon, because it can roll Snapshot and Killing Wind as well. So I don't know. It can kind of be a good PvE weapon too, since it has triple tap and Vorpal. Vorpal does more damage against bosses, vehicles, and guardians with their super active, and triple tap, if you hit 3 rapid precision hits, it'll return 1 bullet to the magazine, so you'll get an extra shot in at least. I don't know, it's not the sniper I would use, but if you don't have a good sniper for PvE, this one's not a bad one to get. Salvager's Salvo. Now this one was a really good grenade launcher when it first came out. It's honestly still a pretty good grenade launcher. So you hold the shooting the shooting button, and then you release it to detonate it. So I used to run this with ambitious and chain reaction. So as soon as I got one kill, and the chain reaction just creates even more explosions. So I would kill one enemy, get the ambitious assassin to proc, and it'll overflow the magazine based on the number of rapid kills before reloading. So once I killed an enemy, I'd be able to shoot this thing twice before I had to reload instead of just once. But if I wanted to get grenade energy back and wanted to spam grenades quicker, I'd put demolitionist and chain reaction. So that way, the more enemies I'm killing, the more grenade energy I'm getting back. And also throwing your grenade reloads this gun because of demolitionist. So Salvager Salvo is a pretty good grenade launcher. It's an arc grenade launcher, so Salvager Salvo is a pretty good one to get if you don't have a good legendary one yet. No Composure fusion rifle is also really good. It's not bad at all. It's probably one of the better fusion rifles if you put like high impact reserves, and let's see, Feeding Frenzy I guess is not too bad. Or if you don't want to lose control while shooting this gun, Heating Up is a pretty good one to go with, but I usually go with Feeding Frenzy and high impact reserves. And it's a faster firing fusion rifle. This used to actually be one of the guns you would run during I'm trying to think what season it was. I can't remember what season it was, but fusion rifles used to debuff enemies based on the number of hits that you would hit an enemy with a fusion rifle. And Null Composure was one of the guns for that meta. So this is a pretty safe fusion rifle to rock with if you don't have it. A good fusion rifle. Ascendancy is, it's alright. Explosive Light is pretty good. Picking up an orb of power increases the next projectile's blast radius and damage. You can stack up to 6 times, I believe, or maybe it's just one. I think it's just one. I think maybe I'm thinking of something, another perk. Ambitious Assassin is also pretty good here, but yeah. I would think Ambitious, or no, Impulse. Actually, I'm not sure. So, Ambitious Assassin is good for if you're doing like ad clear stuff, like Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction. But if you're doing boss damage, I would think Impulse Amplifier and Explosive Light, but also Ambitious Assassin and Explosive Light would be really good, because you can get a kill with the rocket, reload, and then you'll have 2 shots ready to go. So you'd put the rocket launcher away with the 2 shots once you have Ambitious Assassin procced, and then you'd pick up Orbs of Power to get Explosive Light ×2, and you'd be able to shoot 2 rockets pretty quickly to do really good amounts of damage. So Ascendancy is not a bad rocket launcher. Reckless Endangerment is honestly, it's not great, but it's not bad either. I don't think this one's really one that you need to get, but yeah, I think this gun was okay. Then we have Chain of Command. Chain of Command is actually not bad at all. The fact that Adrenaline Junkie and Demolitionist roll with it is pretty good. So Adrenaline Junkie, this weapon gains increased damage and handling from final blows with grenades or this weapon. And then Demolitionist, kills with this weapon generate grenade energy. Activating a grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. So you can throw your grenade, it'll reload the weapon. If you get a kill with the grenade, you get damage buff because of Adrenaline Junkie. You're getting kills with the LMG, which gives you grenade energy back. You throw your grenade, reloads your weapon, you get more uptime on Adrenaline Junkie. This is a pretty good LMG. I think this is a pretty safe one to get if you don't have a good LMG yet. And then that brings us to Crime Mutiny, which honestly isn't that bad either. Has Demolitionist right here. But the one that I think is really carrying this weapon is Incandescent. So defeating a target spreads Scorch to those nearby, so if you shoot this grenade launcher and it kills an enemy, it'll cause like this fiery explosion and it'll apply a burn to enemies around it. So it's honestly not a bad perk. I mean, I think every time I look at a solar weapon, if it has incandescent, it's probably going to be really good. But it can also roll with Demolitionist if that's something that you want for grenade energy. If you're doing like a grenade build or something. But yeah, Crime Mutiny, not a bad heavy grenade launcher. So I would say that one's a pretty good one to grab too if you want. But yeah, so that's all the exotics in this kiosk. Yeah, so I should probably mention that exotic ciphers are an item that you get from a quest from Zur. So if you don't know who Zur is, he is this guy that appears every weekend, Friday through Monday, until the Tuesday, which is reset time. He will have this quest where you have to do like, I think it's like 25 Vanguard strikes or something like that. You have to do some objective. It's not a hard objective, it's just time consuming. But you'll pick up the quest from him, complete the objective, which takes some time, and then you'd go back to Zur, turn it in, and you get an exotic cipher. So that's how you get exotic ciphers. It's not that hard to get it. It's just, you have to wait every week to get one. But yeah, those are my recommendations for exotics that you should get. So yeah, that is the exotic gear archives. If you think that any of these look more intriguing to you, go ahead and let me know. But yeah, those are my recommendations, just because I feel like they'd help you out in end game stuff more. And if they're good in end game, they're probably going to be really good in just casual play as well and help out like your teammates and stuff. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. So leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.